Hey, what's up, guys? So it is 9 o'clock on Friday night, and I have no video. I have a bunch of clips, but nothing that comes together and makes like a video that I'd be happy putting out. And I wanted to film Ben meeting one of our friends who has been stationed in Korea for what feels like ever. And she actually just finally got home, and so she's, Korea's like totally different time zone, so she's like dead tired, and that's totally understandable. I mean, I would wake up at 3 a.m. for work, and she'd just be going to bed, and so it's like trying to get used to that is super difficult. I mean, I even had a hard time just moving back and forth from Pennsylvania to California. And so I get it. And so that video is going to have to wait until probably next week. So this week I wanted to talk about something that's like, a big headline. Everybody's talking about it. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard Ariana Grande's new song, Thank You, Next. I never thought about it like this, but it made me realize that, like, every one of my exes has molded me into the person that I am right now. And that's made me, the person that Megan needed, the person that could appreciate her, and the person that I'm proud to be today. And now I got my own place. I've already bought 2 of my dream cars, and I have the most perfect son that I could ever ask for. And so I kind of wanted to go back and like touch on like that part of my life that I haven't ever talked about in these videos before, and explain why I am so grateful for my exes. Alright, so my first real relationship was in high school. So I was young, but I was able to drive, and so I was staying out all hours of the night and scaring my parents and all that good stuff. And it was fun. It was new to me, so it was something that like I hadn't experienced before. This is like your first relationship. You think it's the greatest thing ever. After a while, I started to realize, like, I don't feel like this is how it should be. And I started to realize that we were 2 very different people in very different parts of our lives. I still had a lot of growing up to do, and she had a lot of like figuring herself out. It didn't work out, and so I was like a really shy and like quiet person in high school, and I was like just starting to like break out of that and become a little more outgoing. And the relationship kind of helped that along because she was a very social person, and it made me very social. I gained a ton of friends and felt like I was like the coolest person ever. That's kind of when the relationship ended. I was on this like high where like the band I was in high school was doing great. I always had people to hang out with. I always like, just pull up the phone, and at any time I like just had someone there. And so it like felt like I was this like important person, and like looking back on it, it's so ridiculous. But you gotta get there somehow. And so then that led directly into my next relationship. It was like a boys like girls music video. It was like sneaking around, staying out late, running away to different towns and road trips, and it was a whole lot of like that kind of stuff, but not a lot of like emotion and actual like getting to know each other. And that was probably the downfall of that relationship. And she wasn't, I was like her first real relationship, and she was not ready to be in a serious relationship, is the nicest way that I can put that. And so I left my first relationship feeling like I was the coolest person in the world, and I left this one like completely just broken. That relationship made me feel like no matter what I did, I wouldn't be good enough for anyone. And that's a terrible feeling, but I that's how I felt. Like never I've I've never actually like talked about this before, and so I'm like it's starting to like come to me, and I'm starting to kind of have realizations about it. But I felt like, you know, we were happy, we had a great relationship, and that wasn't good enough. And so I felt like I personally was not good enough, and therefore I kind of like for a little while just kind of pushed people away and didn't really talk to anybody until that's actually when I started. It's not when I met Megan, I met her years before, but when I started to talk to Megan like that. And so when we first started talking, it wasn't like we were just hanging out as friends. It wasn't a like date. We weren't like, you know, talking as people call it nowadays. I actually like started really like having feelings for her, and I just kind of like tried like pushing her away because I was like, I don't want to go through this again and just find out like, you know, as soon as she finds someone else that, you know, they're gonna be better. One day she actually like she started to catch on, and she like broke down, and we had this like really really deep heart to heart. And that was very very early on in the relationship, like the first couple weeks. And it would sound so ridiculous to say then, but like, you know, we've been together for almost a decade, we're married, we have children, we're very happy together. But at that point I like realized like this girl is someone I could spend my life with. And now I am. And so yeah, that's my take on why I'm grateful for my exes. And like I want to like almost reiterate in a way and say like, you know, we've all had terrible relationships. We've all had like relationships where you left them and you hated the person, you hated their guts, but it's not worth it, because that relationship's put you where you are today. And even if you're in a low point, it should drive you. It should motivate you to be that better person that's going to achieve the things that you want. And it did for me. It really shaped me into a better person, because I was a person that I just really I'm almost ashamed of at that time, and then brought me all the way back down to a person that was ashamed of themselves at that time. And now I'm happy with who I am. I'm happy with where I am in life. I'm happy with my relationships with my family, my friends, and you can take this however you want, but you wouldn't be who you are today if it weren't for those people. And no matter how horrible they were, that's why it's over. That's why they are no longer in your life. But that's why you are where you are today. But that's all I have to say about it. You know, this is a very different video. A very, you know, listen to my sob stories, I know. But I heard the song once or twice, and I was like, hey, you know, maybe I can dig that. I get the message she's trying to get across, and I'm not known to be an Ariana Grande fan, so it was like I feel like I got to talk about this. And when I sat down and realized like I got nothing to post tomorrow, I was like, this is the perfect time. So thank you guys for watching. Comment down below. Tell me your stories. Tell me what shaped you into the person you are. Tell me your past relationships. Tell me if I am dead wrong. If you've had an ex that was so terrible, there's no possible way you could ever be grateful for them. Or that if you had one that was maybe not so bad, now you're like, hey, thank you for getting me here. Let me know. And make sure you subscribe down below, because we have so many videos coming up. I have big plans coming up. It's just a matter of when we'll be able to pull them off. And these videos are just a reflection of what I do, what my daily life is, what we go through, because that's what I set out to make them. I wanted something to look back on, and right now, with the weather being really terrible and us working so much, it's really just been about hanging out with family, and that's okay with me. I still have just as much fun making videos. I still have just as much fun editing them and putting them out. If you don't like them, I'm sorry, but hang in there, because there is some different wild stuff coming up, I promise. So subscribe, stick around, and appreciate who you are as a person, and follow your dreams, kids. I almost forgot. So if you go to our website, IamDylin.com, you will see a hoodie on there. This is not mine. This is my friend The Only Fender on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheOnlyFender, if you want to check him out. He plays a lot of Siege. He's played, I watched him play Spider-Man. He's played Red Dead Redemption. He plays a bunch of different games, a little bit for everybody. He's cool. He's funny. Check him out. But I have a hoodie on our store, IamDylin.com, that has actually been discontinued. It is the classic hoodie, but the color navy has been discontinued. So if you like navy, if you're considering getting a navy one, the color has been discontinued. So it will be off the store soon. So if you're thinking of picking one up, now is the time to pull the trigger and get one. That's all. Bye.
Lightning strikes by my window, hits my chest